Hello, everyone. This is How to Mess Up Your Business. My guest, of course, Dr. Stan Karwowski. Hello, Stan.
Hi, Maciej. Thank you for having me.
What will we will mess today up? Last episode was about how to mess up your business and your strategy, and today,
Correct.
what will be messed up?
Okay, so today we're gonna focus on customer relationships. So
Mhm.
if you really want to learn of how to mess up, for example, your customer relationships by over promising, not delivering, proper communication, focusing on short-term goals and stuff like that, please watch the video. You're gonna be super happy with it. I promise.
Yes, because you are our customer. We want to make beautiful relationships with you. And please bring coffee and watch our show. Today, I will ask Stan about customer relationship messing up art.
Yeah.
So the first idea to mess up your customer relationship is to exist on a to focus on existing customers. Did I hear it properly?
Yeah, absolutely right. But there's a very specific angle to that. So what
Mhm.
I dare to claim is that you can really mess up your overall customer relationships if you focus only on typical for your industry or for your type of company customers. Why?
Okay.
Because every other company focuses on them, right? So you have a lot of competition talking to your customers, trying to convince them, trying to deliver them some kind of value, better or worse, doesn't matter.
Mhm.
But they really do, right? So I really dare to claim that in order for you to build really good customer portfolio and build relationships, you need to find customers that are not specific for your industry and try to broaden your market, so to say, by those additional groups that nobody thinks of or are delivered lower quality than they expect and things like that. That's why they leave, etc. So really go further. Don't really focus on very typical for your industry customers.
Okay, but let me be a kind of advocatus diaboli. But if I am an entrepreneur, I would say, okay, Stan, but if I focus on my existing customers, I will be so focused that I will be um, uh, super class for them. I will be the best from my industry because I am focused. And if I am focused, I will be better each day, every day. I will be better, 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 and then I will
Mhm.
be someday I will be the best. And the delta between me and my competitors will be so huge because of my focus on my existing customers. How would you deal with this doubt?
So I have a question back to you. Are you an industry leader? Question mark.
Of course not, but I will be because I will be focused on my existing customers.
That's your ambition, right? I'm asking, are you an
Or
industry
maybe
leader?
my dream. Not ambition.
Yeah, I think many entrepreneurs have that ambition type of an approach. I'm gonna be. When you're gonna be, then you're gonna be. Then let's talk about where you are now. If you're not an industry leader, that means you don't have that much attention, visibility, and credibility as the industry leader, and you have to fight to get there, right?
Mhm,
And those guys, they have the let's say the connection, the approach. They meet more often with those customers, right? And
mhm,
you have to remember that customers usually in a typical industry where there's a lot of competition, there are hundreds, tens, or hundreds of different companies like yours, which are not
mhm,
industry leaders, that are trying to compete for that, let's say, being a leader position, right? And
mhm,
they really struggle to differentiate one from another because most of
mhm.
them use very similar type of, let's say, arguments why you should work with them and not the others. So remember, there's a big bias on the customer side, and they really
Mhm.
struggle to understand why they should talk to you and not the industry leader or somebody else.
Maybe this is what I call the difference between ambition
Yes.
and dream. Because when my wife asks me, "Are you a market leader?" I said, oh no, but I will be my love. And this may be only a dream if a few hours later I don't work on this. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Just open your bank account and see the revenues coming in a number your CRM, and then you'll suddenly realize where you really are, and that's not really industry
And
leader position.
and if you really want to be a leader or not.
Exactly, exactly.
Sorry,
True.
I had to.
Our Mexican guy realized that. He said, "True."
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely true. So okay, we have a bullet one. A bullet one. If you would like to mess up your customer relationship, please
Mhm.
focus only on the people who are your clients now, and
Target, let's say, specific, typical customer audience for your
for
industry,
your
for the type of
industry.
your. Yes, yes.
Mhm, yeah, and this is bullet one. Bullet two is
Well, the second thing I would say, if you really want to screw up your customer relationships, don't innovate. Just deliver everything,
innovate.
still the
Uh,
same things all over and again.
we were talking about innovation last time, didn't we?
Yeah, we talked about innovation, and also from that's a very good point. We defined it a bit different than typically people understand, meaning that it's not just product or service innovation; it's something
Mhm.
more, right? It's a good balance of value that you deliver to the customer, and so expanding those and minimizing all the efforts that don't bring any value for the customer, and that's value innovation that we discussed. So tip number two is don't innovate on the value that you bring to your customer. Stay in the same place, and your customers will be super happy.
Uh, why do entrepreneurs act like this? Because I wonder, uh, do they think, okay, I have the very best products and I'm the best, but only me and my wife know it,
Mhm.
and few customers, but I will wait till the market will reveal this great worth
Yes.
I produce. Do they want to wait, and do they think that the good product will defend itself without marketing and communication and so on?
Mm, I think, Maciej, the biggest thing I notice quite often is that entrepreneurs, in a way, lie to themselves, thinking that their product or service is really top in the industry. In a way,
Mhm,
they try to close their eyes and pretend that it is, whilst
mhm.
they don't have any evidence that, in fact, that's the case. That's
Uh-huh.
the biggest factor I see. Somehow, I don't know, cognitive or mentally, they try to lie to themselves and convince themselves that they are really the best. But there's no
Mhm.
evidence for that. They can't prove it. And then, if you can't prove it, that's not a fact. Nobody will say that. Why do you even believe that, right? But that's really happening most often. I think that's the biggest barrier.
Mhm. I wonder what's the opinion of our Mexican expert about this.
Yeah, I wonder too. I think probably if let's check.
True. Había subido la marica con triple paella.
No wygląda na to, że zaora.
Maciej, yeah, you're so happy that you switched to Polish. Thank you.
Yes, I was so happy that I switched into Polish. Yes, definitely. He said that lack of innovation is really screwing factor. Uh, you said also that short-term goals are the not a good ally to make a brilliant customer relationship. Why?
Oh, I would totally agree with that. And by short-term goals, I mean that when you talk to a customer, you focus on short-term sales
Mhm.
rather than long-term relationship building. right? So I have a product, I need to sell something to you, and I'm gonna push you really buy this because it's really great, right? Or I can't reach my targets, sales targets. If you help me, please buy, blah, blah, blah. So you push it hard as you can, and in the end, customers will buy it. But then it just ruins your customer relationships. So that's a really bad thing, and many sales representatives do that, right? They will try to push sales whatever cost, not looking at the overall customer relationships for the organization, and that's really, really bad.
I will be advocatus diaboli for the second time. I think that they think that they build long-term relationships because I think that in their state of mind, uh, giving discounts, pushing the client so hard is a, a kind of building long-term relationship, because if I gave him so huge discount, he will remember this, and if any sales representative from the other company will come, he will remember that I am the one who gives the biggest discounts. uh, isn't it like this?
And imagine, so then I'll play it back to you. Imagine you're that type of a customer. I give you a discount once, twice, three times. What's your next?
Bigger,
What's your next expectation? What do you
bigger,
expect from me next time?
bigger discount.
See, is that a relationship? Yeah.
It is a kind of pathologic relationship.
Yeah.
But I think that sales representative think that if the pathologic relationship is long, then it is good, because my boss told me to build long-term relationships, no matter if they are pathologic.
Yeah, I mean, there's one thing that is really good to do for those people. Just bring them together in one room with marketing and customer service, right? And show them customer service perspective. Guys, what happens if you push your customer to buy something? You overpromise, we have to then deliver, and then customer calls us and say something doesn't work, for example, right? I mean, if you see the perspective of customer service marketing that will ask for referrals from your customers so that they can basically do the activities and then bring more customers, you'll notice that that short-term goal focus will actually impact both customer service and marketing and the whole organization as such. So we can't be so egoistic in sales just to push sales whatever cost, right? Forgetting about everybody else. That's where you realize what are you really doing, impacting other people. Because for sales, it's just sales, right? They focus on target most of the time.
Yeah. As we say on Wall Street, sell in May and go away.
Llegaba el agua al restaurante. Había subido la marea.
So, long terms.
That was a good one. I didn't even know that selling may go away. That's a good one.
Yeah, he's really tremendous. Short-term goals are bad. Long-term goals are good. Of course, if we track everything in our CRM and bank account. What
Mhm. Okay, go on. Sorry.
What about? I would like to ask about the the fourth idea of how to screw up your customer relationship. You told me about treating all customers in the same way. Isn't it a kind of professionality in organization that in the very beginning every sales representative had his own idea for every single client, and as we grown up we made standards, we made all those things that differ big companies from small companies. Is this bad, really?
So It depends. Answer is a typical consultant answer.
Yeah.
Depends.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is that I sometimes see that one company has customers of smaller size, medium size, and bigger size. And
Mhm.
if you try to treat everybody the same way, you're gonna fail. Why? Because expectations of a customer who is a small company, maybe a one-off, like sole proprietary, whatever, right? Is that you're very flexible. Yeah, there is little of document and official things, so to say, and we just move on because they don't have time. They have to work all the time. Then the
Mhm.
medium-sized company will require some level of formalities that have to happen, right? Because they are kind of building processes, technology within, and there's some kind of internal organization that and several departments that have to approve something. So you have to have a level of more professional, so to say, cooperation with them. And the bigger companies will go like about, okay, so what's your stand on ecology, right? Anti-bribery and corruption, and many different things that small companies don't even think about, right?
Yeah.
So you can't just think about all the customers the same way, treat them the same way. I think you need to differentiate them by size. It's one thing because they will cooperate with you totally differently, right? And there's different way even to reach out to them, etc., and sell to them everything practically, right? Market. But also look into the needs of those customers. So there's going to be a different type of cooperation with customers that have a problem X, different problem Y, and different problem Z probably, right? Some of them might require some more individual type of an approach. The others will be more standardized and so on. So I think you really be kind of really customer focused, customer oriented, and try to adapt, right, to customer size, customer needs, and maybe some other perspectives or dimensions. Yeah, and really serve the customer the way he or she wants to be served. I think
Yeah.
that's super important.
And wants to pay for that because many times a customer wants to be served like you know Maharaja from India, but he doesn't want to pay for it. Yeah, so the idea is clear for me. Yeah.
Absolutely. So another tip: if you really wanna screw up your business, then we really invite you to treat every customer same way.
Yeah.
True.
Very good idea to screw up your business. Our Mexican expert approves this message. Uh, Lack of communication is lack of communication great idea to mess up your business also because in those days I would say we have a lot of bias. So we have tons of newsletters, we have tons of push notifications on our cell phones and so on and so on. uh, isn't it like this that lack of communication would be maybe not now, but in a few months or few years a virtue?
Maybe it could be an advantage, but I wouldn't call lack of communication advantage. More like well balanced communication to a customer an advantage.
Okay.
And you're right that there are some types of industries where communication is so often. You've got push messages, you've got SMSs, you've got emails, and some other stuff, banners. And there are some industries that do that, like e-commerce. And the only reason they do that is that they have automations to deliver those types of communication on their behalf, right? Marketing automation can do everything when you're capable of setting it up properly, and they do that. Now, I often see that in smaller size companies, what they do is they sometimes over communicate, right? Reach out to the customer, ask questions multiple times, try to be very proactive, which isn't bad, but sometimes it can be too much, and they can be quite overwhelming even, right? Like or publishing things on LinkedIn and Facebook every now and then. Every time there is a small win, they will, because they are trying to build their brand, their visibility. On the other hand, we've got those bigger companies that are so sure that they are there. They have like 10, 20, 30 years of experience in the market. And their stand is that, well, we don't have to, right? We are so well established. So we communicate every 6 months, maybe. Yeah. And it's reality, or even or even like every year or 2 years, they reach out to a customer to talk to them, right? If they have, let's say, 500 customers in their database, it is actually an endeavor to do that, to communicate with the customer every, let's say, quarter. So I do understand that, but you can't talk to a customer every 2 years, right? You don't, within the period of 2 years, your company can go down, right? Or many things can happen. So I think what I would say is the most difficult is that lack of communication, the frequency that is too low to sustain proper customer relationships.
There is one single situation in which you can not communicate at all, and in which you can treat all customers the same. Guess which kind of situation is this?
What a mystery, Maciej. I think I'm not smart enough to guess.
Oh, but you are a doctor. This situation is when you are a monopolist. Then you can act like a meathead. And
You're right, but that's not a normal market situation, is it? Right? We shouldn't. I mean, monopolists are just ruining the market, the economy, and things like that. This is something really, impacting the economy and customers and the whole surrounding in a really bad way.
Yeah, but everyone would like to be a small monopolist.
True.
Aren't you?
One day, who knows?
Yeah. Okay.
It's very convincing. Saying true.
Yeah, of course. What about next idea to screw up customer relationship? How to destroy it for sure.
The next one will be very typical, and it's called poor customer service, right?
Poor customer service.
Poor customer service, meaning that you reply to your customers late, that you don't pick up your phone when customer calls, right? You're not reachable. That whenever they ask you for something, you're not very open and proactive to help them, and things like that. I think it's really ruining customer relationships, and sometimes we see that sales complaining to leadership team saying that we bring you so many customers, but you can't really even handle them. And sometimes it's really the case that customer service is not really doing the right job, but sometimes it's also the sales team that is doing a trick, because obviously they have a target to bring as many customers as possible, sell as much as possible, right? Build a revenue. But if they do that with a short-term thinking, right? Trying to push sales, right? Give incentives, discounts, and things like that, right? Then they can sometimes bring a lot of customers that have a high, let's call it, have a high probability to become complainers, right, etc. Because sales overpromised them something, told them something is gonna happen, told them something's gonna happen, but it's not happening. And customer service is like, what? Are we expecting to do that? Really? This is a two-edged sword, but I really think that poor customer service is a really bad thing, right? Because you just burn your money on marketing, on sales, and if that, let's say, area doesn't work properly, then your customer relationship is gonna go down.
Yeah, that's a really typical situation in many companies.
Yeah, I would agree, definitely.
But of course, there is also a threat when you are overactive. If customer, your phone is ringing at Saturday 7 a.m. Yeah, and this what you said doesn't mean that if it rings at 7 a.m. and you have normal industry, not, I don't know, security business, yeah, then you should not be like a dog who is
running to pick up
a stick, yeah,
true. But Maciej, it really also depends. imagine you're a small company and you're starting off, you're there in the market for half a year. Wouldn't you pick up a phone on Sunday 9 a.m. when your customer calls you?
I would, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, okay. So, poor customer service isn't a good idea. It is a great idea for messing up your customer relationship, of course. And what about not listening to your customers? I think it is a kind of brilliant idea. Customer is talking, you saying yes, 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 yes. And he's talking, and you say yeah, yeah, of
And
course.
you're just nodding.
Good. Yes, yes, yeah, yeah. Good point. Yes, 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 yes. And nothing to do. The customer is satisfied because he found an ear which is hearing.
Yeah, listening.
How maybe? And nobody told him that he's stupid. Isn't it a good idea? Maybe for not long term, but short term.
Yes, I mean, I think there are two dimensions of that problem. One dimension is that when you talk to your customer and you always confirm yes, 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 but you're not delivering, right? And at the end of the day, the customer is gonna be pissed off and say, okay, it's not gonna work, right? Please change your approach or attitude.
Mhm.
But the other one, which is even more, I think, worrying, is when you start a relationship with a customer, right? Or the customer is changing his business, and they have needs or problems that you don't really understand well, and you're not really trying to listen to what they say. Instead, you're trying to push your products and services, right? The
Okay.
way you have them. And I think that's a really bad thing, because at the end of the day, if you're not responding to your customer needs and problems, right, there's a really low probability he will buy from you and will engage into building a relationship with you. But
Mhm.
if you are so persuasive, and pushy that she will do it, then you're actually pushing a problem to another department, which is probably customer service, right?
Yeah, but there is also one possibility, not
Mhm.
this that you are a monopolist and your customer have problem, but the possibility that your customer wants to buy something, but he doesn't know that he really needs something else.
Mhm.
In many industries, you have to communicate with your client to form his mindset, to show him what really is a gold and what is a goldy sheet. Uh, if he wants to buy a
Mhm.
goldy sheet instead of gold, what in this case, what should we do?
Yeah, this is really tricky, right? Because if the awareness of a customer of what services or products she really needs to cover
Mhm,
their needs, problems, or solve their problems is low, then
mhm,
you're getting into the area of building awareness, right?
mhm,
And if you're a small type of a company,
mhm,
that's gonna consume a lot of time.
mhm,
The rate, your success rate will be pretty low, right?
mhm,
Because you have to meet a customer several times before there's any step, and
mhm,
that awareness building is continuing. It's not gonna stop at the moment when you sell something, right?
mhm.
Within the process of the delivery, etc., and the after sales, it will still continue because the customer has never
Mhm,
experienced that, right? And you're just building that. So I would actually be my experience is that I would be really cautious to go into an area where you are a smaller company and you're building awareness of your customers every
mhm,
time,
mhm,
because that's a lot of resource, a lot of engagement required from your side, and the payoff may not always be what you expect. Uh,
mhm,
it's a lot easier when you're a bigger company and you have a really good reach, digitally, physically,
mhm,
to your customers, and you have strong credibility. Then customers will listen
mhm,
more carefully, and let's say the awareness building is quicker and easier, right?
mhm,
But if you're a smaller type or a medium-sized company, I wouldn't really invite you to go and try to build awareness like be a pioneer and don't plan that it will actually take you a lot of time to bring your customer from point A to point B in terms of their cognitive perception, their, I don't know, understanding of what they really need to, what kind of service product they need to resolve their problem or satisfy their need.
Okay. So that's convincing. That's convincing. Thanks a lot.
One thing I would add, Maciej, just to be, because I don't want to sound like a person that, let's do something everyone understands. I think there are ways to do that, but instead of just trying to explain each and every time to single customers, that guys, you actually need something else. I think there are some ways, and what might work better is like build some kind of a community around the idea you have, a service or a product you have, right? A community of people that have certain reach, that maybe they are thought leaders within their areas, right? Expand that community and try to work throughout that community to build that awareness, not trying to do it only yourself, for example. That would be one approach to handle this.
Yeah. Sounds reasonable, my dear doctor. What about inconsistent customer experience? What does it mean? And why is it a great idea to mess up your customer experience, relationship management?
Yeah, I mean, we sometimes see that in companies that try to be digital, but they are not really yet digital. So let's imagine we have a very traditional industry. Let's say maybe insurance, where typically you meet an agent, you buy an insurance policy, right? They do everything for you, and you just sign and pay and thank you, goodbye, right? And suddenly they try to be very digital and will say, okay, now we need you to go and paperless. Yes. Go paperless, and then they send you some forms and things like that. But you then open your eyes and, oh my gosh, there's questions here. I need to choose this, that. I don't even know what that is, right? So suddenly from an experience where it's very physical, you go to experience where it's digital, but it's clear that the industry is not yet really ready to provide you the right level of digital experience, right? They don't think through what you have to do, how much time it will take, whether the channel they give you is optimal, right? Whether they give you enough time to deliver what is required, right? Maybe if you're a type of a customer, let's say after 60, that you don't really work a lot with mobile phones and applications, then you have a challenge with those digital things, even the tools, right? So that's what I would call an inconsistent customer experience, right? Where the company offering products or services doesn't really think through from a perspective of a customer journey, end-to-end customer journey, right? What's going to happen, and are there any pain points on the way, right? So they're trying to innovate, they're trying to experiment, but sometimes there are some hurdles that they don't see or they don't care about that much, if I'm honest with you, and the customer is impacted, and he can go away to somebody that does that quicker, easier, and in a more efficient way, so to say.
As we talk about being hybrid or go paperless or go hybrid, I've seen a car with a SUV car with stamp stop hybrid, go diesel.
Exactly.
This kind of strategy many companies want to pursue. Okay. And what about empathy? Many small businesses are very empathic, and their business owners, and then year after year they become less empathic. Isn't it the proper way? Isn't it the proper way of development, or not? Or
Yeah, it's interesting what you said. I would say it depends on any industry. There are industries where the whole industry and the communication to customers is very emotional, and company X will try to be empathetic, right? Understandable, etc. Will be like very proactive, and will turn attention to different emotions and the feelings that their customers have at different stages of their cooperation. And we see that in the fashion industry, for example, which is very emotional, right? We see that in industry of kids, equipment, toys, and things like that, where they're talking about, okay, how do you feel, your kid, etc., your child, how you will feel in a certain situation. Okay, but also there are some industries where practically those guys don't even turn any attention to being understandable, empathetic, emotional to their customers. And a typical example would be legal industry. I'm not saying this is the case of, all the time, every time, but sometimes it happens that you go, for example, to a lawyer to help you in a certain situation, and you feel you need a lot of support, right? It can be also applicable to medical industry. You go to a doctor where you have a real problem and you wanna you want help, but also you want to feel understood, right? You want to feel that somebody supports you, and that's sometimes even more important than the actual support that you get, right?
Definitely.
And then what you get is just very rigid, formal type of communication, relationship building. The service is very formal. Like nobody turns really attention to your emotions and feelings, and you feel like disconnected. Oh gosh, I have to use that because I have no other choice, right? But then nobody's really caring about me, and it's a really bad feeling. So I guess what I would say, if you really wanna screw up your business, sometimes be very, and I don't know if the word exists, in empathetic, but don't turn attention to feelings of your customers. Just do what you do every day, and hope that your customers will appreciate it.
Yeah, and be like your local hospital.
True.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. The last but not least, our idea for screwing up your customer relationship is over delivering and under promising, or another way around.
Yeah, I think it's actually a good way to build good relationships. Thank you, Maciej, for that topic. Yeah, but honestly speaking, over promise and not delivering is a really good idea to scrap your business. When do we see that? We see that sometimes in marketers, in different campaigns where they tell you about fantastic things, like, for example, IT industry and all those talks about AI, right? What can AI not do?
Yeah, everything.
Almost. But when you go and present your use case, then you learn that, oh, actually we have to have so much data, we would have to collect it for another year, we have to teach our mechanism or algorithm to do something, etc. So actually we can help you now, right? So you can see that in let's say marketing activities, but you most often see that in sales activities, when the salespeople will say, yes, you'll get it, the quality is perfect, delivery will be on time, and everything will work. You'll get a individual support, but then you get what everybody else gets, right? And non-different. So I think that's where you can really overpromise and then under deliver later on, which then impacts your customer relationships, which then impacts that your customer will not give you a referral, will not share voice, with their relatives, with their friends, etc., to basically promote your company.
Yeah, I think that it is really one of the most powerful ideas to screw up your customer relationship.
Yeah, but isn't it very often? Don't you think so? Especially for smaller businesses, it's like, yeah, of course we can do that. We have 2 people on board, but we can serve a big project, and we can help you. We'll do everything, right?
Yeah, yes, it has.
We don't have to sleep. We'll find a way.
Yeah, it is a kind of relationship that I associate with a small bazaar in the middle of Turkey. Yeah, it's fresh, it's perfect, it's but it's all bullshit.
Exactly. Yeah.
It was fresh 1 year ago. Yeah. Wow, look, we have almost 40 minutes on our timer, and it is really brilliant because last time we talked for 40 minutes. So our it is really as if we have planned it.
Yeah, and I feel like we spent 4 minutes, literally 4 minutes on a discussion, and it's 40 minutes. I hope
Yeah.
our viewers also have the same type of experience, and I
Yes.
hope we're not, boring, and you leave, and then you find value, especially from those.
Yes, of course.
recordings.
We hope we hope that you got a lot of value. Please give us a like, and of course left some comments. What would you like to talk about? To hear we talking about this in the next episode. Of course, we have. Long-term strategy for many episodes ahead, but of course we are listening to our customers. You are our customer, you, and also you, Mr.
And you,
our
and you.
yes, of course, and Mrs. Humans. Yes.
And the
Our-
Mexican guy also.
he's also our customer. Please write down what would you like to hear about in next episodes. And of course, for the next 30 seconds, as usually, we will show you our last episode. The last episode was about strategy. If you do not subscribe our channel, please don't subscribe it now. Don't subscribe it now. Please have a look on our first episode, and then
Make a decision.
have a cup of coffee, and then think about, and then maybe you think that we are worth of your subscription click. Yeah?
Yes, thank you so much, guys.
Thanks a
Looking
lot.
forward to let's say presenting next time and talking to you next time. Please leave your comments, subscribe, whatever, when you feel you're ready.
Yeah. Bye bye. Thanks a lot.
Cheers, bye.